Hi, everyone. How are you today? I trust that everybody's doing great. Happy Tuesday to you. How is the Tuesday going? Hope it's not too stressful. Save for the Facebook gifts that I got this morning. I am totally fine and I'm good. So Mark and his people at Facebook decided to give me a Facebook gift with multiple flagging. Okay? But you know what? You know I'm an elder now because when you're 40, they say you're an elder. So I'm learning how to just sort of not bother myself about stuff like that. All right, so thank you so much. My name is Esther Ijawere. I am the host for the Get Talking with Esther show. And today I will be hosting a remarkable woman that I have great respect for. She is Apostle Busola Jegede, and she is a woman who is doing so much in the society. She's adding so much value to society through our work, our community. And today we're going to be talking about this topic on the screen, which is the winning strategies for the 40 plus woman. I am so interested in this topic. Apostle Busola is also the Daughters of Destiny. She's also the founder of the Daughters of Destiny Interdenominational Fellowship. So, while I'm waiting for her to join, I'm just so excited to be here. Like I said, I would just get on my page right now to invite more people because when you're shadow banned by Facebook, they have the upper hand basically. So, but then we're going to be fine. Um, we'll be very, very fine. And I hope that the week started on a great note for you all. For me, yes, it did. Yeah. Thank you so much. I just saw someone sent a message to me that she likes my hair. Oh yeah, I like it too. It's been quite a while that I've had to rock my locks. It feels good when you're on locks and then you can wear the wig cap and wear your wig and, not wear the locks. And the freedom of being able to say, you know what, my wigs can take the back seats for now. I want to be my naturalista self. And that's what I've been so far. And I'm loving it. I love it. I love it when I'm on my natural hair. Um, and because of where I live here in Canada, I mean, because of Canada as a whole, right? You need that hair to get into your hair because all winter we're on caps sometimes, hoodie, jackets. Let your hair breathe. So I love this breathing moment of my naturalista hair. I am very much interested in this topic today for so many reasons, because I remember when I clocked 40 a month ago, and I asked folks a lot of questions on Facebook. Not quite, I just one question, right? But I got a lot of answers. I said, "What advice do they have for um, a newbie in the fourth club?" And the responses I got, I am going to be discussing some of that with Apostle Busola today. Listen, if you know somebody who is in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and somebody who is even in their third floor, ask them to join the show today. There's so much to learn. There is also a retreat coming up on June 7th and 8th, which I am going to be part of here in Canada. And there's a conference as well. We'll be discussing all that today. In just a few minutes, we'll get into all that. But for now, I want to know how you all are doing. Let me know in the comments how you are doing. How is the week going? It's just Tuesday, right? So it's still safe to say that the week is going fantastically well for us. So I am going to bring my guest on in a few minutes. And before I do that, like I always do, the word I have for you guys today is Intentional kindness. I know I talk about kindness a lot. I just feel like we need to continuously retreat that word. And while I am very heavy on kindness, I also understand the power of kindness with boundaries. However, the former is for us to be human, meaning you just have to be kind to people. You need to master kindness. You need to master how to show kindness and give people grace. Because sometimes what you think it is not what actually is. So I'm saying this for, I mean, there's a popular situation going on right now on the internet, and I am seeing folks already trying to pull down one of the parties so hard. And I said to myself, have we lost our sense of kindness in the world? Do we even care about how people feel when you go on people's comments and type those stinkers, when you call people names, when you, I mean, it's wild out there. And then for those of you who like to report people's accounts, once there's an opinion out there that contradicts your own belief, the next thing is spam, you just want to report. Listen, you cannot get any kind of joy from being wicked and evil to anybody. So once again, intentional kindness is a must. We need to learn how to be kind to people. We need to learn how to be kind to ourselves. And if you need to take breaks sometimes, please do. But do not let anybody make you fold on the internet. Because where the internet is going right now is that I feel a lot of people are going to fold. Someone closed our account a few days ago as well on Facebook because she felt like people were attacking her. That won't be me. Some of us are so sick that before we even come online, sometimes we read Psalm 19. So we don't act out of character and forget our own training. Anyway, that's about it. I'll be talking more about that, when I have my own personal session. But today I'm so happy to have Apostle Busola Jegede with me today. There are women that you just be seeing their work, and then boom, like that, you just have this connection. They're like, here, celebrity, just like that. And she's not just a celebrity, she's an impactful celebrity. There are different stages with these things, an anointed one for that matter. So today, get ready to hear the word of God, get ready to hear the truth, get ready for fact, and get ready to be impacted as well. So if you know somebody who is in their even late 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, ask them to join the show. Ask them to join in real time, because listen, there is this energy that comes with hearing something in real time, right? All right. So I'm just gonna, have her join me on stage right now. Hi.
Hello. Good to see you finally.
Same here. I know you are so busy. I'm like, okay, she's gonna make it today.
Yeah, we'll try.
How
Nice
are
to be
you
here.
today?
Good, good.
Okay, good. You look good. You look like
Thank
a
you.
judge, a chief judge.
Looking legal with my black.
Yes, it's good. Do you have a legal background? Yes, you do, right?
No, no, no. I'm an accountant. I'm a chartered accountant.
I see. People who count money. Yeah, debits
My
and credit.
training.
What's that thing we used to do in secondary school? Hey, balance sheets. Great. I mean, that's another part of you. You're multi-dimensional. You are a chartered accountant, and I want to believe you still practice and not
No,
quite.
I don't. I don't practice. I'm fully in ministry. I just do business by the side.
But like they always say, once an accountant, forever an accountant.
Exactly.
You
I
can't
think
take it.
the knowledge is applicable everywhere.
It's applicable everywhere. Amazing. I'm so glad to have you here today with me. Thank you so much for taking out time to join us. I
Yeah.
believe that more people will join as we, progress. But first, I want to ask you, so far, what has been the highlight of your month? Is the 14th. I love to ask my guests. 14th of May. So far in the past 14 days, how has it been? What has been the highlights of the month for you?
Typically, May for Americans, Canadians is
Mhm. Yes.
Mother's Day. Sunday
Yes.
was Mother's Day, and typically when you're in women's ministry, you would
Hmm.
always have invitation to speak.
Yep.
So I've been speaking since the beginning of the month in different different churches, and this last weekend,
Mhm.
Saturday and Sunday, I was engaged. Take your place was the topic for every woman to take her place. So it's been very busy. May is usually busy because things have kicked in for the year, and
Mhm.
a lot of programs roll out. So it's been very busy for me.
That's good. That's good. I love the word busy, productively busy. So, because
Yes.
that's what I've seen all over your wall. You've been productively busy with, the work that you do. And, before we get into the session and before I introduce you officially, what drives you? Because, I was reading your profile just a few minutes ago, and I went through your socials and I said to myself, she has so much, she's done so much. She keeps doing so much and she would always be there for people. So what is the drive? What drives you as a person, as a woman?
I think basically what drives me is a passion for people,
Hmm.
and especially for women.
Okay.
Somehow I've been wired to feel for women. I'm from a family of 7 girls
Okay.
and 1 boy. I went to a girls only primary school, a girls only secondary school. Somehow I'm just wired for for women, and I feel for them, and I can empathize and live through scenarios with women. And because we're in such a patriarchal society around here in
Mm-hmm.
Africa,
Mm-hmm.
you find out that when you look at the dynamics, a woman who is not intentional would lose out, even
Yep.
if she's educated. If she's
Yep.
not intentional, and that's what brought about the whole 40 plus woman,
Mhm.
because you see many women sowing their lives, and then at the end, just one little thing throws them
Off
on a
balance.
tangent that they're not prepared for. And
Yep.
so I think that just drives me. God just gave me a passion for women. And they say whatever it is that pains you is your purpose. So,
Yes.
so I believe I have a calling to women.
Amazing. I
And
like, I'm gonna,
I have 3 sons. I don't have a biological daughter.
okay, now that's something. No, that's something. But what I want to take away from what you said is that you've got a strong passion for women. And that in itself is the word that I'm looking for, the key word of the drive. It's the passion, your passion and your drive for humanity, but particularly for women. And to think that you have boys. So I would say that you are raising kings at
Amen.
home, and because you're also doing the work out there for queens,
Mhm.
it is definite that there will be an alignment of kings and queens meeting.
Certainly. Certainly.
Well done, well
Certainly.
done, and thank you so much for sharing that. Gloria Odiadi is also here. Hi, I'll bring you on stage in a bit. So Apostle Busola is here with us today once again. I'm really excited. You can see I'm excited. You see this topic. I told you people since I clocked 40 that the way I was so romanticized this age. You don't know anything yet. you know, because I clocked 40 a month ago. So when I
Wow.
had a conversation with Gloria the other day, I told her, I said, this is an alignment of purpose for me,
Mhm.
because the topic in itself, I said, yes. I told God already, I said, I want to start this on a note where I am not only unlearning, but I want to learn new stuff. And I
Yeah.
want to learn from people who have been there, done it. I want to learn from women who are truly making the impact. And the topic, I'm like, yes, we need strategies for 40 plus women. But that is exactly what we want. And we need. So please, guys, I'm just going to quickly introduce Apostle Busola, like I should do. She is an ordained apostle with a strong prophetic function. She is also an empowerment and transformation coach. She graduated from the University of Ife with a BSc in sociology and anthropology. She later trained and qualified as a chartered accountant. She became an entrepreneur in 1996 and brings in a hands-on entrepreneurial experience to help women identify business opportunities, get professional training, or acquire vocational skills, as well as package their businesses for better success through the Destiny Business Institute. In 2006, she founded Daughters of Destiny Interdenominational Fellowship in response to God's call of "My daughters are not praying," thereby raising and leading women as intercessors for the family and nations through dedicated prayer centers across Nigeria, UK, and USA. Our teachings are very realistic and in season for daily Christian living, especially in relevance to women. I'm just going to stop there. You know what they say about people with powerful profiles? You can go on and on with that. I love the part of your profile that talked about, you having that word from God on what to call your organization. My daughters are not praying enough.
Yeah.
When you heard that, when you got that message, how did you feel? Did you just
Now,
dive into registration? Did you pray about it?
actually, it came from, I got the call when I was 39, and that's why 40 is extremely important to me. It's not just significant or symbolic. For
Mhm.
me, it's prophetic. So when I was 39, I already had my three children. I was married, to a very good man. We were living normal, nice life. My husband was working with an international company. Though I wasn't working professionally, but we were in a comfortable place. But I was not happy. I was not fulfilled. So it was difficult telling anybody that, okay, look around you. You have a husband, you got three children, you're living a good life. If I were living in a choice part of Lagos, we're living in VGC. I mean, where else could you? Your husband has an international job. But deep within me, there was something missing. I couldn't place my hand on it. And as I'm talking, I'm sure it will resonate with a lot of people. When you're comfortable but not happy,
Mm,
it seems difficult to comprehend, but it does happen. Where you seem to have it all, but you're not fulfilled. So I couldn't put my hand on it. And the only way to respond to that void, being a child of God. So I remember my pastor's wife at the time, I was involved in church, like a normal Christian, do more, bring stuff, be there. So she said, okay, you're going to be 40 and you seem to be, a lot of things were not going right. But then already had a burden, but I didn't understand it. I always had an urge to gather with women to pray. So anywhere I am, I would just suggest, better let's start praying. But it wasn't like structured. It
mm,
wasn't that I knew it was a calling. I just love to pray. And so I would tell my two of my neighbors, let's start praying in the sitting room. But now when it got to 39, it was stronger and I was more unfulfilled. So she said, why don't you take a fast? You're going to be 40. And that was a very, very good, and I still give it to her, that she led me in that direction. She said, why don't you go on a 21 days fast and just seek the face of God towards this, your 40th birthday? And a lot of things happening around you that you don't understand, probably. So it was on that fast that I got the clarity, that I heard God, which it wasn't something I couldn't bring myself to that place of intimacy to hear. Like many of us have issues, but we don't bring ourselves to the place where we could actually hear God. So,
mm,
because I was quiet, I was fasting. On the seventh day of the fast, I
mm,
got some instructions. I wrote it down. The Holy Spirit gave me clarity about my business. 14th day, I started hearing God and I started writing down. Then finally, before the fast, the Holy Spirit told me, why don't you gather women to pray? My daughters are not praying. Why don't you start? And everything began to fall into place because God speaks to us just like he speaks to Samuel. He calls you, you may not understand it. He might have given you an inclination, an impression. He's trying to talk to you. And sometimes it may take three times, just like Samuel, before you get clarity.
mm,
Before Eli said, is God calling this person? So I got to that point where I could hear clearly and with guidance. And okay, so I'm supposed to start a ministry, but my husband is not a pastor. So it wasn't something that I could easily ease into.
mm,
And so it was from a spiritual place that I got the clarity to know that, okay, Some people do start ministries that are not churches, gather women and just start praying with them. So that's how we started.
Now
It was
that's
my 30th birthday.
I love the part where you said that when you go to spaces, you just start praying. Did you have any experience at any point, like someone just coming to you like, excuse me, why are you turning this to a spiritual thing? Did you have such experience?
Absolutely. Like we want to do PTAs in my children's school. Like everybody is milling around. Can we pray to start? You know? So of course you do have people who want to be fair to
Mm,
other people, that
mm,
we shouldn't, we're not only Christians here, but you know what? I say anybody can pray. Even in national events, they bring different people to pray. And I tell women, anywhere you are, you make your mark. You put order. If people don't know, everybody should just be gisting and want to have a gathering. That gathering may end up in chaos if we don't commit it to God.
mm,
And so you take your place. If somebody else wants to pray from another religion, they give them the space. I mean, but you set the order, you direct people to that direction. And
mm,
I'll just cite an example. I was in a government setting much later in a particular state where my husband was acting in a capacity, and we were in a women's meeting with the governor's wife, and everybody was saying a lot of things, opinion, and they said, "What's your opinion?" I said, "My opinion is that we should be organizing prayer meetings in this state house to pray for the governor, to pray for the state," and everybody picked it up. But if I had kept quiet, nobody would get that divine direction. So you don't hide your faith, though you don't lord it over people, but you don't hide your faith.
you don't rub it on people, but you don't hide your face. I
Your
like
faith, your faith.
it. Yeah, that's what I said. Your faith, like you don't rub
Yeah.
it on too much on people, but don't hide it. Stand in who you are in
Yes.
Christ. I love that. And I want to just, I want to have us talk about this conference before we dive
Okay.
into other questions, because that's the big elephant in the room. I'm really excited. I want to know the inspiration, how did the inspiration come to life for the conference, the fire retreats and conference and dinner? How did you get the inspiration for it? And what impact do you hope it's going to have, for the attendees of the conference?
Okay. So we have it's a two phased conference. There's a spiritual angle because that's my forte. And then there's the unique call to the 40 plus woman. Why this call to the 40 plus woman? I began to realize, even as I began to deal with women, that we get so busy with life that many of us don't pay attention to certain important things when they matter. And even when it comes to parenting children, um, our style for every 40 plus woman will probably be dealing with teenagers. And so parenting adult children is different from parenting babies, where you throw them at the back of your car, you buy Zobo, you buy wafers, and you you think you can just take them everywhere. And so people began to have issues. And being a pastor, people come to you for counseling. And I began to have a higher call. There's a way your call can fledge out like the onion. Though it's a call to women, but this is a peculiar call to another segment. So I was invited to preach in a conference. This is how it started. A church in Abeokuta invited me to preach at a conference. And when I got there, I realized that the crowd was totally different from the Lagos crowd. They were more elderly. They were women who worked with the government, because in Abeokuta, is either you're a civil servant, or, it's not like Lagos that is so diverse. And the Lord began to open my eyes to different. I began to look at the women, and some of them were retiring, some of them were like 45, 50. Not all of them were like Gen Z or millennial and their needs were different. And so they gave me a 2-day conference that, please help us. Some of them don't know what to do. They are retiring, they don't know what to do. Then some have issues with their children, they don't know what to do. So I got the burden from that conference that there is a peculiar need for women at a certain age. And 40 is a good line where you still have time I actually first thought about 50 plus, but I redefined it. Because by the time you're 50, you really don't have much time again to
Mm.
make amends. That, okay, let me take the band a bit backwards. So the very first conference I did was for the 50 plus, and the theme is rejuvenate. So I now had to redefine it to 40 plus. That let's get women from 40 so that they have 10 active years to make amends if they have failed, or to gear up if they haven't. Because by the time you're 50, a lot of dynamics will not be in your favor again. You're probably almost retiring. So that it was from that conference that I began to now research what are our issues. Now it's from 40 that I entered menopause at 39 because of thyroid. Are you saying it? So
Yeah.
I had to go back. Some women were entering menopause at 45
Mm.
because the earlier you start to menstruate, the earlier you get to menopause. That's the way it works, even though the average is 51 years. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of women were also going through crisis that they thought was spiritual. And they'll come to you, pray for me. I don't sleep at night. I don't know there's a demon. No, knowledge is important. So it gave me a better perspective to know that these things are women issues. And
Mm-hmm.
so the conference was for me to call specialists because I'm not a specialist in certain areas.
Mm-hmm.
Mental health. So I got a mental health specialist. I got somebody who would talk to us about vision because a lot of people would need to redefine their vision and purpose around that age because you need to repackage your life for what will take you to the latter part. So if
Mm-hmm.
you're working with a bank, for instance, and the bank may tell you to leave at 55, so what are you going to do afterwards? That you've been used to a kind of lifestyle, traveling abroad and all that. So I said the best way to do this conference, which is called Rejuvenate, is to bring in different specialists to let us know how do we prepare ourselves for the latter part. There's a second half of life that many people don't prepare themselves for. Your schooling and everything prepares you for the first part. Your job and everything, they prepare you for the first part. And as it prepares you, it takes it. Everything you use to educate your children, you are into your activity based in the
Mm-hmm.
first. But in the second part, you've got to be strategic. So how do you plan? What are the things you need to pay attention to at 55? Is that if you don't have a house to live in,
Mm.
it's a serious issue? Because typically from that age is also when women, unfortunately, but realistically, some get widowed. That's the fact of life. Life happens at that stage. And you find out that a lot of women just get thrown off you wonder, okay, what kind of life were you people living that you can't cope again? So I began to research this particular new burden. And I said, let's start with conversations first. Because conversations would bring about clarity and it will bring about depth. So I gathered the first one I did, it was 2020. 2021 because of COVID
Mm-hmm.
or 2020. So we did it virtual. We were
Mm-hmm.
supposed to do it live, but because of COVID and all that. So I got a specialist mental health doctor, a specialist financial coach,
Mm-hmm.
somebody on health and nutrition, and somebody to talk about vision and purpose, how to position yourself. While I also spoke about the spiritual and the emotional,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the stage of life where some issues may confront you that you need to really take care of. Otherwise, anxiety will set in. For
Mm.
instance, you don't forgive people. Vicissitudes of life will happen. You would have related with so many people when you get there. Your sphere of influence is so large. You're carrying a lot of burden as a woman. You had a rift with this, that. So if you don't settle it, a lot of people begin to have high blood pressure.
Mm.
So we tackled those uh, like I will call it the mountains of issues that affect women at that age, and telling people also about how to position their assets for their children. You see, some women can be with in a marriage. A particular friend of mine, after about 20 years of marriage, marriage broke down, and she had to leave Lekki to go to the mainland to look for work to stay. Because many of us leave a lot of we take a lot of things for granted. She was not noted on the property, even though she was the one that used her upfront while she was working in the bank to roof the house.
Mm.
She was thrown out of the house. She has to go and start again. So a lot of women do not know how to negotiate in marriage
Hmm.
because things are, you don't build the walls of a city in the time of war. You build the walls in the time of peace. So I began to teach people, see, you don't have any issues now, but you got to open your eyes. The person may not really mean bad, but if you don't know how to negotiate, you will not position yourself.
That's true. That's powerful.
And if something happens, some women, it may not even be that their husband treated them bad. Maybe the man died, and then the relatives. And we've had issues like that even in our ministry that we have to stand for people. The relatives will just come, take everything away because the woman was careless.
Hmm.
So those were the. That's why I say when you have a passion for women, it's deeper than just having a conference of feel good,
Hmm.
go here, accelerate. We're talking about real issues
Real issues.
where you are going to know you are secured
Hmm.
for marriage, no matter what happens.
Hmm.
So if somebody is not noting you on the property, at least is he buying property for you or are you buying property in your name?
For yourself.
These are conversations, just like they say before you get married, ask this person, ask that person.
Hmm. Hmm.
These are subtle conversations that takes place in intimate spaces when you are informed.
And
You
you are
know how
in.
to negotiate
That's
before you
powerful
get to the crossroad of life.
of life. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that. I listened to that intensely because you really brought out some very vital points, and we see that happening in society today when somebody is widowed and all of a sudden they are just there. They don't know where to start. They don't know how to start. They don't even know where to go. Some don't even know the account details of their late partners.
Can
They
you
don't know
imagine?
what properties they have because,
There
like you
was one that they couldn't bury the man, and he had millions in his account. They couldn't access it to even bury him.
said, can you imagine? Thank you
Mhm.
so much for sharing that. I'm also going to add Gloria very quickly, just so that we have her share. Hi. Um,
Hi, good afternoon from here, Gloria Odiade on stage. Good
thank you
afternoon,
so much.
Apostle. Thank you.
Hello, how are you?
Good to see you, ma. I'm fine, ma. Hi, Esther Rubis International. Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you for joining. Because this part of the conversation is pretty much, where you are very involved, and that's about the
Yeah,
conference. So I wanted you to share with us, Apostle already told us the impact of the conference, the why. So
awesome.
what should people expect at the conference? What should they expect? What are some of the perks? I know it's a 2-day conference. What are some of the things that women should expect, from this 40 plus rejuvenation conference?
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Esther. Once again, I want to salute my mother in the Lord, my dearest apostle. Thank you. Good to see you, Oma.
Good
So,
to see you too.
honestly, I'm so excited. I'm full of life because I want to tell all the women out there. Because firstly, this conference was done. I was invited to participate in Dubai. That was 2022.
Yeah.
As in, my head was filled up with a lot of loads, and I needed a space. I needed to be, to have like a space to myself, far away from husband, children, to have a retreat. And luckily for me, Apostle set this conference in Dubai, and I left Canada to attend this conference in Dubai. Trust me, ladies, the conference was filled with a lot is loaded. So in
Mm,
this conference, we learned a lot of things. As a woman, what do you expect? 40 plus woman. As you that woman that you are pregnant with a purpose. You don't know how to bat it. You don't know how to go about it. This conference is for you. You're going to learn how to walk in your purpose, how to achieve that purpose. A lot of women out there, they are loaded with a lot of ideas, but they don't know how to go about it. When you come to this conference, our dearest apostle will teach you precept by precept, step by step, how you are going to launch into that purpose. So trust me, ladies, and also this conference promises to be exciting. We are going to go on a tour. Your husband, your children, they will not die. Trust me, that students will not kill them. Just give yourself that space because you need that space to align for the purpose of God for your life. And I trust me, you will not just be in that conference, but you will take home a lot of things to take you into the next level of your life as a 40 plus woman. Thank you.
Amazing. I love the reassurance that you gave them, like, okay, if you are leaving home, they are going to be fine.
Exactly.
Because honestly, the way people don't know how to take self-care breaks, it's because, oh my God, my husband, my children. And I learned that late as well. So I'm not even going to talk about people. I'm going to start from me. And like Apostle said, when they are still young like that, it's that flight mode and fear mode. Not fear particularly, just you trying to be very, very present. However, I woke up in an awakening just before my 40th birthday. And I said to myself, wait, this parenting thing is a journey that never ends. Like, it never ends. Like, so what you just have to find time, because before you know it, they're out of the house. And then when they're out of the house, planning by yourself will not be an echoing task, because excuses have gone out of the way for you.
Emptiness syndrome.
Connecting with people that you should have built a connection with while you were raising those children. And I love the awakening. You know, I love that awakening, and I want to believe that the conference would have that effect on a lot of women. And the trip that comes with self-care and me time will not catch up on them.
It's one of the hallmarks of the conference. Two important things apart from knowledge sharing. Okay, knowledge sharing from different angles: nutrition, wellness, finance, legal, mental health, and purpose. But apart from the knowledge sharing, we are also big on taking people away. Focus on yourself for some time. You know, pamper yourself, because many of us don't do that. And because we don't do that, there's a lot of mental overload. So that's why the Rejuvenate Conference, we've had it in Houston, Texas. We've had it in London. We've had it in Dubai. Of course, in Lagos, but at a getaway spot.
And also in Canada last year, Ages, Ontario. It was awesome.
We were in Canada last year. That's why we're adding the boat cruise to it, going to Niagara. Let people let down their hair. Let the girl in you come out.
That's a lot of fun.
The girl in you come out. At least a lot of people are going through marital stress, parental stress, themselves.
And it's so much. And they wear it on their faces too. That's another thing. And it's because they don't have a space to breathe. It's a triangular life. Walk.
So that 1 week is going to change a lot in you.
Yes.
It rejuvenate. So that Rejuvenate Conference is very, very, the word is very, very symbolic to what happens to people.
As a matter of fact, that's the word that caught my attention. Because
and also Esther, you know, when women like I'm a founder of Women of Distinction Touching Life Foundation. So we have this program that's like it's a therapy. You know, when women hang out with other women, like last week, we have to hang out like about 35 ladies just to take ourselves out, like Mother's Day evening events. So I realized that in this hanging out, sometimes we're not hanging out to look for something else, but just to rejuvenate our mind. You know, so a lot of women are coming out with a lot of things loaded, you know, family issue. So we set out like once a month, ladies hangouts. So what do I mean? So ladies hangout is like a therapy for women. When you come out and hang out with other women and connect, networking, talk, by the time you get home, that man that got you offended, you will not even remember that again. So people tell me, Gloria, thank you for putting this together. It's not because we just want to show off, but we want to because it happens to a lot of us. When we go back to the house, that child, that man, you will not even have time to remember what happened before leaving the house. So that's why we say ladies should come out once a month, hang out with friends, not for the bad ones, but for good that will rejuvenate and help your mental health. So that's
absolutely. And mental health is such a huge topic.
It's real.
And time. I feel like we're not even doing enough yet. You know, kudos to everyone doing something. And I say we're not doing enough yet because there is the post-COVID mental health issue that the world is not even prepared for yet. And the impact of that perhaps will sit in 5 years' time. The people who were locked down for 2 years, and they now have to start reintegrating themselves back into the society. There is going to be I mean, it's out there as well from research.
It's already happening.
Yeah, the impact of COVID, will start seeing it soon because a lot of people were really, when they say lockdown, some really locked themselves down to the point where they forgot about human relation.
Yeah.
So that in itself will take a lot of, just not rejuvenation, but therapy, and
Therapy.
Mm-hmm.
conscious therapy, conscious counseling,
Hmm.
and personal introspection to say, I need people. I
Honestly,
cannot do this life alone,
you
you
can't.
know. And because women also bottle up a whole lot,
Yeah.
there are certain topics, of course, I don't want us to divert from this happy-go-lucky event here, that issues that women pass through
Oh,
that also cause mental health challenges. And I believe that being in a space, like you said, like the conference, would help them. Just hearing not just apostles speak, but even the stories of other women,
yeah.
because the way people heal sometimes is by hearing the lived experiences of other people. Like, oh, so I am not alone
Hmm.
in this situation, you know. So I'm excited, and I am really happy for everybody that has registered already. And for those who are yet to register, for those of you who are going to watch this live session,
Please
listen,
register.
I am going to add the link to this video. Register. If you are in Canada, I want to believe Apostle is still. I know some of you will come to my inbox and say, when is it happening in Nigeria? When is it happening in the US? Don't worry, wait for your time. This one is Canada time. This one is our own time. So
Canada 2024.
enjoy our own season, you know. So when we're done with Canada time, if Apostle has a future date, be rest assured that I would communicate with you when next they are bringing the conference. But please tell somebody. You've heard everything Apostle said, and you know, Sis Gloria as well. It is so important, especially for this month. Is Mother's Month, Mother's Day,
Pamper
Women's
yourself.
Month. You know, there's so much happening in the world. Let people just wind down, be in a space, a safe space. Let me also say that,
Yeah,
a
safe
safe
space.
space, you know, with other women. So, Sis Gloria, before you go, just a quick word for women before I dive into, you know, the context of my interview with Apostle today. A
Okay.
quick word for, you know, women out there, not just those in their 40s, just
Yeah.
women generally.
So I want to encourage you as a distinctive woman out there. If you're 30, if you're 25, if you're, just for a gender as a woman, I want to encourage you. Set out a time, at least once a week, go for a walk, exercise yourself, talk to somebody. Don't buckle up that issue, because when a problem shared is half solved.
Mm,
So once a week, once a month, set out your special time, go for spa, give
mm,
yourself a treat,
mm,
open a bottle of wine if you can afford it, because you can't eat, you can't give what you don't have.
mm-hmm,
If you don't love yourself as a woman, you can't love even your children.
mm-hmm,
Trust me, if you don't love yourself, you are not able to open a bottle of wine, a
mm-hmm.
fruit wine for yourself. How will you be able to entertain somebody else that come to your house? So I
Exactly.
want to encourage you as a woman, just take care of yourself, because self-care is important.
Self-care is
God bless.
important. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll connect with you. Thank you for the last word, that self-care is indeed important, and that is also the focus of our conversation today. Thank you so much for joining us today once again.
Thank you.
All right, Apostle, you know, back to you. I mean, listen, I am really interested in asking you these questions, and that is because from the beginning of this conversation, I know there is fire that is about. So my question is, how can women, you know, in their 40s effectively manage health challenges, you know, like menopause? You mentioned menopause at 39. Now,
Yeah.
that's a huge one. And you were able to manage it. You know, some other women are not able to manage the challenges and the signs of menopause. So please, could you kindly share some of these tips that these women could use when they're having to deal with menopause?
Okay. So menopause is a natural process of aging. Okay, that happens to everybody. It's just like a baby would have teething, had to grow teeth. So when a woman gets to a certain age, the average age is actually about 51, and it typically lasts for about 5 years.
Mm,
Uh, so it's important for you to know that when you begin to feel those things, hot flushes, you're sweating. That's why investing in a hand fan. You see a lot of women they
mm,
carry hand fan. That's one of the ways, is a coping mechanism. So there are a lot of hormonal changes in a woman at that age because the hormones, the ones that have been responsible for reproduction, they are getting reduced. And I don't want to go into technicalities, but just for you to know that there were certain changes in your body that made you fruitful, okay, from being a girl to being a woman, and now those things begin to dry up, and these hormones are produced by the ovaries, and when estrogen begins to reduce, it now makes your body to go through certain changes, and so you may find out you're not sleeping well, you may find out your hair is thinning, is not going, you're applying a lot of things, the thing is not improving. So this comes out in different ways. There are different signs of menopause. You may even be having mood swings. It can come with irritability. For different people have different thresholds for menopause. Some people just glide through, just like menstrual pain, when we're young girls, some people have very serious menstrual cramps, while some may just, they just have a slight discomfort and they take something and they're fine. So that's exactly how it is. So for some people, menopause can really be serious. But one of the things that you need to deal with it is self realization. So when I know that what is wrong with me is not cancer, it's not, because it's not that I'm going mad, because without knowledge, if something is happening to you, you tend to think the worst. But when you have knowledge, you can better manage it. Okay, this thing that is happening to me, it will pass. It will certainly pass. It's just for you to know how to manage it. So it poses a lot of problems for women when they don't know that this is a natural process. They may spiritualize it. They may begin to, yeah, a lot of people spiritualize. I remember a particular woman, she would come to my sitting room and say, pray for me. Oh, we're praying and praying. I didn't even know it at the time. Menopause is what's worrying this woman. Thinking me the day by she's speaking, but when the thing comes like this, oh my body will be hot from inside. Have you heard people talk like that?
Yes.
Inside me. I don't know. The way they are cooking the fire, there's no fire anybody's cooking anywhere.
Holy Ghost fire.
It's like there's no place that nobody's doing anything. This is menopause. The people perish for
Yes.
lack of knowledge. So
Yes.
when we now begin to educate them, don't worry, it's going to pass. If you're feeling hot, when you're going to bed, make sure you take your bath, make sure you wear something light, make sure your room is cool. So it is hormonal. You can also have hormone therapy. You can also have some supplements that would help you to glide through. Some days may be worse than others. So it's very, very important for you self realization to know that you may be irritable. It's a phase. Also, lifestyle modification. Yeah, you modify your lifestyle. Don't wear things that would make you sweat. You may be in a meeting, you may be in a board meeting, and you just break out in sweat. So you've got to be in control. You've got to know how to manage those things happening to you. Daily exercise is also very important. Make sure you have a regime of exercise because it reduces hot flushes. For me, what used to happen, sometimes I'll be in the kitchen. I mean, it was a strange experience. It would be as if somebody was, this hand dryer, the way the heat comes out, hand dryer, I feel it on top of my head. Who is putting dryer on my head? But that's menopause. It's hot flushes. Hot flushes can come in different ways. It may be somebody breaking out his, or you're feeling one heat from inside. So when you exercise, it will help to reduce the hot flushes and also the weight, because some women may gain weight, some may lose it. It can bounce in different ways. Nutrition is also very important for you to eat less carbohydrates, maintain a balanced diet, because your body is going through a lot of things. Eat lots of fruits and vegetables, reduce caffeine intake when you're going through menopause. Don't drink coffee, it's not going to help you. Also, you need a like Gloria was talking about, you need a support group. Two things: support group and inner circle. These are two different areas. A support group can be a large group, like a fellowship, a group where you go to, where there are many people there.
Hmm.
But then a smaller one can be an inner circle. Every woman needs an inner circle.
Yes.
You got to find those people in the
Yeah.
journey of life, because you will get to a certain time that your husband may not be the one you want to talk to, but you
Mm.
need a trusted person. And you see, to benefit from a support group or inner circle, you've got to throw into it your availability. Yeah, if you say, I don't want to talk to people, they gossip, they do this, you just be on your own. And when something happens, like Esther in the book of Esther, she
Hmm.
had a support group. She told Mordecai, go and gather the Jews, let them fast for me, because this thing you said I should do, nobody has done it before. So I can't go. So she was able to tap into a corporate prayer through her uncle. Then
Hmm.
my maids and I will fast. That's our inner circle. So Mordecai stirred up the whole nation to fast for her. She stirred up her inner circle. Every woman needs that. You need a place you can go to when you want to you don't know how you're feeling. Let me just go somewhere where I can hear the word of God or hear something where I can speak. You know where to go to. Not that you're just alone on your own and there's nobody to connect with. The devil will just be, bombarding the person. So support group is necessary. I think with those five: support group, inner circle, nutrition, daily exercise, lifestyle modification, and self-realization, and knowledge about what you're going through, that it's not a disease and it will pass. You'll be able to. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And that brings me to the next question, which is the financial future. How should women in the 40s secure their financial future? What should they do? What are some of the winning strategies for creating a financial inclusive future for themselves and their children?
Fantastic question. Now, you find out that from your late 30s, depending on who you are and your profession,
Hmm.
on your career, there is
Hmm.
always a season in your life
Mm.
where you come into a space where you have what I would call a financial buoyancy. It may not be much, but you get into the space where you've gone to school, you're working for some time, probably you have a partner. If you can pull resources together, there are financial milestones that
Mm.
are important for us to hit. For instance, it's important for you as a woman, if you're married with your spouse, to at least plan for where you will live, that you will not have to pay rent. Very, very important. You need to make that decision. And typically around that 40 is when most people, at least all the money, okay, you might have started out when you got married, you're living in a flat, you're paying rent. But after a while, you've got to be strategic with your finances, that we need to buy a house. First, maybe most people don't typically buy a house for investment first. They buy a house where they will live in and not pay rent. That's what most people do, even abroad or here. So by the time you have a place where you don't pay rent, then what is the next financial implication you would have? Probably paying school fees for your children. And if you're not wasteful, going on frivolous holidays, uh, though it's important to go on holidays, but you know what I mean. So you need to now begin to secure assets for investment. And you need to use this 40. I remember I told myself when I'm 40, we we had bought our house. I said, as for my business, I would not rent a shop again, because I was a serial entrepreneur before I got into ministry. I had about three shops in different places where I was doing giftings, gift items, birthday events. But I told myself, okay, I've done this for 10 years, renting places. But when I was 10 years, I must buy land for my business. So I bought a land for an event garden. So what am I trying to say? Intentionality. Use your 40 as your milestone. And I have something I'll advise women. Make sure that every year you have a certain thing you achieve as your birthday event, your birthday financial milestone, something you add to yourself as value. So in that space, I began to do that. I said, I must buy land. And so that was my target. Give yourself a goal for real estate around 40. because at that particular time, you're likely to have a financial buoyancy, so to speak. And if you've had a good life, and even if you're single, if you don't think, oh, I have to be married before I buy this. You probably would have bought your car maybe in your 30s. So don't go for the next big car. Have one of the things that would help you to have a financial future is to have real estate that can earn for you. So you've already had where you're living. At least you have a house. Or I tell women, if you can't buy a house, buy a shop. They sell shops everywhere. In a shopping complex, people would hire it. Make sure you have something that will deliver to you. It may be trickles. So that's one. You must have an intentional plan for real estate. Buy a shop, buy land, or now they buy houses for people who can afford it. Also, it's very, very important you have a savings culture. It's not a matter of it's not enough. It is a habit. It's actually a spiritual principle that you must set aside something. If you get your salary, okay, take care of yourself, but set aside something. That spiritual principle was what Joseph practiced in the land of Egypt. There is a grace added when you don't eat everything. It's a spiritual grace. So cultivate the habit of having a savings where, and I tell people, especially those in Nigeria, because of the nature of our money, if it is even $50, you can change your money to go and open a domiciliary account and save it in foreign currency. Never mind that it's going up and down. Just keep it there. Save in a currency that is stable. And you can do that even from here. So, intentionality, knowing what to do, and being consistent. Also, investment. What can you invest in? Are there businesses? We need to be careful about investment because there are a lot of all sorts of things they carry up and down now. But people can join together to buy a property, maybe a warehouse. You can co-invest if you cannot buy it alone. If you have, I remember the one of the shops I opened, I told you I was a serial entrepreneur. I had a chain of stores. One of the stores was from my church. I told a group of ladies, let's start doing a city. They are trusted people. So when I got my own contribution, I just went to rent the shop and I stocked the shop. And that became a business line just from the Esusu. So I had enough money to pay for the rent. I had enough money to stock it. I just put a shop girl there. So that learn how to co-invest, how to leverage on a community of trusted people, and you help one another. Not the ones that will collect money and run away. No, because some people do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you can also co-invest to buy a property. Maybe you buy a warehouse and you now rent out the warehouse. And when the rent is coming, you share it. You see, we are living together. Oh, you have a community of people. You are living your life together in Canada here. You must be able to recognize how can we leverage on this relationship that we have with good intentions. You know people who are sincere. You know them long enough. People you can't give money to. You know them. But you know people that you can give money to and you go to sleep and you know that. These are aspects that we don't leverage on. If somebody, people who trust you, who know your pedigree, they don't mind doing things with you. There are such people. So you can champion it. Just today alone, I just called a few people. I said, look at this person who is believed needs a lot of money because of hospital bills that the person pays. I'm leveraging on that relationship to pull that thing to give that person. So let's begin to look at our profitable relationships and help one another. So your friend may have some money that she's not using. You may have some money, pull it together, do a business, share the profit. You have an idea of a business, or you don't have the money. So let's begin to leverage on relationships, even as we want to enhance our financial future. Lastly, I'm going to talk about digital products, because that's the way to go. So do you have an idea? Can you make it into an ebook? I launched the book in my sitting room during COVID, and on my seat I sold the book. I launched the book on my seat. I got over 1 million naira, and I just sent the link of the book to people. I didn't go to a publisher. It was much later that I published the book. So let's learn to, you have an idea, turn it to a digital product, an ebook that people from everywhere can buy. And the product will be there forever. Turn your messages, your whatever into what you can sell again and
Right.
again. An online course. Set up your website. I have different online courses that I've prepared since, and people are still buying it. One of my area of calling is to help people who have a call to ministry and they don't know how to start. So I have a 10 module course, which is mentoring in ministry. Once you take that course, 10 modules, you will know how to start your ministry, how to do the registration, how to launch it, and then we just I give you strategies. That's a digital product that keeps delivering for me. People who are meeting me for the first time, as I'm talking, they may be in that space where they don't know how to cross. So let's learn to begin to package our giftings into digital products that can deliver to us, that can sell to people in different parts of the world. You don't need to meet me to learn from me. Yeah, you don't need to. Just go to my website. I have different courses there, and you pay, and I get an alert. So that way, money keeps dropping for you. You have an album, put it on those platforms. I have 2 albums that inspiration in songs, and people can download it. And so many people waste their assets because they don't position it well. And it's important to leverage on the now. What are the ways that people are acting now? You may think you're looking for capital for business, but do you know that you can just take pictures of people who are selling products and open your own online business, and you don't even need any capital except for airtime. So let's begin to learn new ways of dealing with things rather than being in a shop and you are pouring anointing oil and saying customers are not coming. You don't have
Apostle, don't break the table, please.
no, you see, that's how they come to come and pray for me in my shop. Do you have an Instagram page? Do you have PayPal? If I want to buy this skirt that is here, somebody in Singapore may want to buy this skirt. How will the person know? Things
No.
have changed. It's a global market now. So people must learn how to position themselves, their businesses on a global market.
Mm.
Everybody can go to my website, they can go to my YouTube page if they want to know. Some people, many have invited me for conferences. They've not met me before, but they went to my YouTube page. They want to know what you can deliver. So position yourself digitally. So
Digitally.
that, yeah, it's very, very important. If I Google you, something must come out.
Yes, I was going to come there, and that's I mean, that's a whole cost module on its own. Just in complement of what you said, we need to be intentional, and like you said, it's this age and time because the world is evolving. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, things will evolve. And how are you going to evolve with the world? That is the question. It's the things you do now. I always tell people that everything I do, I project 10 years. 10 years
Mm,
from now, this thing that I want to post, this thing that I want to put online, when they Google my name, because I'm intentional like that. And I'm telling people in my circle, make sure that you're a bragging right for your children. The
mm,
world is getting to that stage. Let your children walk into rooms and say, this is my father, this is my mother. Go and Google my
exactly.
mother. You need to get to that stage. Because even in-laws now, they go on social media because you can be painting a good girl to people in person, but you are the one that
And
drags everything online. You are the one that starts the drama online. You are the one that throw people under the bus online. But because
mhm,
of the marriage, you have packaged yourself like the good girl. So I tell people, I said, listen, the world is getting to that stage. The moment you walk into somebody's family, they go on Google. Hey,
mm,
hi, how are you? They want to search you up. They want to see
yes,
who you are so that tomorrow, if something happens, you not go and drag the whole family on social media.
exactly.
And use them for likes and clicks. All right, so that brings me to marriage. What advice do you have for the 40 plus women on how to be resilient and strong in marriage? Because like you
Mm.
said, by the time you get to that age, the dynamics changes. So how do they remain resilient for somebody who married say at the age of 22, 25, and now in their 40s? How would the center of that home hold? So please kindly share some of those strategies with us.
Okay, so for anybody getting into um, that age, is either you married early or you married late.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people marry late and they're now 40. So it's to know the stage of your marriage and
Mm-hmm.
the stage and the state. So typically, you can identify 2 to 3 marital stages. There are some people or marital states before the stage. There are
Mm.
some people that are in a wonderful marriage. You can't take that away. They married well. God helped them. They married their friend. The chemistry is right. The person is well brought up. They're also well brought up. They don't have traumas in their marriage that they brought in. And there are people who have good marriages, or they just married a wonderful person, and
Person.
and their testimony is true.
Yes.
So it's true. You can't take it away from them. So
Yes.
if you're in that kind of marriage that is blissful, the man loves you, he respects you, he takes care of you, he's loving. You've got a blessing from God. And when you're going to get to this age, you probably, some men would ask their wife everything. They would put their wife's name on everything. I'm going to buy this focusing dear. Let's go. They put you in the know. And many of those kind of women, they don't even appreciate what they have.
Sadly
Many of
so.
them, many of them don't know because they don't know the other side. So if you're in that kind of marriage, maintain it by really praying for that man
Mm.
and being the best because you have a blessing, you have a gift. But
Mm.
sometimes, like Jacob said, God was there and I never knew it. Some of those women, they may not know, but some know. Now, the second state of marriage is this: your marriage is not very perfect. It's always a struggle before you get things right, but you still get it right. You need to be prayerful, you need to be intentional, and you need to be strategic. You know that your husband um, has to be guided, even you two have to be guided in certain decisions that might have been made in the past. So when I say the state of the marriage, there are some marriage, it's not totally bad, but it's not very good. And so, with the grace of God. But there are some marriages, you two will know that this marriage
Shege Banza.
is only God. I'm in it because I don't want to divorce. But you open your eyes. You know you have suffered infidelity. You so be true to yourself. Just know the type of marriage you are in. Don't deceive anybody. You can't deceive people, even if you're not telling anybody. So when you are in that third kind of marriage,
Mm.
you cannot behave like the one in the first state.
Mm.
I know a lady, one of my daughters, her marriage was the first state, and unfortunately her husband passed.
Oh my
Do you
God.
know, as we speak, eh, when she got to the bank, they told her, all the accounts, you're a signatory, don't worry yourself. She doesn't beg anybody for school fees. The man, do you know, the man till in debt, we are thanking God for him. That this man in debt is better than some people alive.
Fixed his home.
Fixed. Oh my
Fixed
God.
home.
He
Mm.
loved his family. He,
Mm.
he took care of them. But
Mm.
you're in the third stage of the marriage. That to even get money, you have to fast and pray to do business. So you cannot just sit down like that. So, what is the state of your marriage? This is a situation where we're seeing an 83-year-old man who wants to divorce a 70-year-old woman online. Is your marriage well documented? Did you do proper marriage in case anything happens? I've been in a situation whereby something happened to the woman as I went to call the feeder, Federation of Lady Lawyers, and they were going to say the first thing is, where is our marriage certificate? Are you properly married? Some women are not properly married, but they have children, and you will never know. And when something happens, you cannot take a legal step. So you got to make sure that your marriage is properly processed, that you are legally married, because some things you cannot fight for if there's no legal status. So even when the legal status is there, and you are in a marriage where you are not secured emotionally, you are not secure secured with your spouse, you yourself, you know it. Some people can show up later. And in this part of the world, if people show up, they also have a right. So it's very important for you to take care of, make sure you have something to your name.
Mm.
If I'm
Yeah.
not sure of, so some people will say, my husband is from one part of the country. They don't talk about property. Do you want to kill him? Then what do you have? What do you have? Yeah. So you would also, like I said, you don't build, you don't do those things when you're fighting. It's like, you know, this guy is not going to share, he's not going to share information about property with you. He doesn't want to hear it. It's like, honey, I came back from, honey, you will drink juice. Hey, do you want, I made unquavi, you give him. They are selling some shops, so in Teju market. If you buy one from me, you know what you're doing? You're securing yourself. In case anything happens, you don't know how many people will show up.
Mm.
List. And even with what you are doing, you got to secure certain things. So
Yeah.
it's not something to do when you are fighting. It's something to do with peace and strategy.
Mm.
Got to be strategic. Otherwise, many women have lost out after laboring. They've lost out. They now come into a place of, this is one of the things that happen to women who don't secure themselves. Even if they go to their children, they end up being disrespected. Because
Mm.
you went to your son's house and you stayed there for 2 years. What are you doing there? You're not giving the wife space. So they begin to disrespect you. Me, I have three sons now. My daughters in law, they have to drag me before I can stay for 1 month because I have a life. I have my life, which is busy. Every woman should have a life. What is it about you? Get involved with something. So that's one of the things we tell people as you are going older, you retire from that office. You don't know where to go again. Apart from going for weddings every weekend, plus the one they call you and the one they didn't call you. It's because you don't have a life. You never built a life for yourself. So build a trust. Do something meaningful. Join a group. They're going for evangelism. They're going somewhere. They're going to give out wheelchairs. Have a life. When you're giving now of your time, because now you have time. You don't have small children to take care of. Everybody here, there's empty nest syndrome. When the nest is empty, it gives people a lot of mental health problems because they don't know what to do with their time. Nobody to shout on again. So, for you to, I'm diving now into even legal matters from
Mm-hmm.
financial. I'm coming into legal matters.
Mm-hmm.
It's very very important that you have a marriage certificate. If you don't have a marriage certificate, if you did traditional marriage and you never regularize your marriage, there is a situation on ground now that the man's older children, they want the man who is going senile to eject the wife. You don't know how many forces can come against you later on. So it's important for you to be well secured. If you've got assets, like those assets telling you, maybe you bought a shop, you bought something, secure your assets by doing estate planning. When we talk about will, people are afraid, I don't want to die. But it doesn't mean you're going to die. Do estate planning. Write it down. Get a lawyer. If anything should happen, I want this thing. You know, a man will remarry. Yeah, you can't stop him from remarrying. You can say, if anything happens, this is how I want you to do it. If you want to give it to your husband, fine. If you want to give it to your children, write it. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. Because many women, sometimes, there are things that happen that you just be looking. There's nothing anybody can do. If you don't take care of what is necessary, nobody can do it for you. So, very important, you set up a school, you are running a school, begin to put your children, at least there should be a Joshua that will come out of you. And it depends on the way you do it. If they are not interested in what you're doing, everybody is not interested in what you're doing. That thing you're building, who is going to take care of it later? You bought a land, you built a school. That's a legacy right there. I know somebody who sells fabric. She's very popular, SAS textile. Her mother used to sell the fabric. But she took over the business with her sister, taking it to another level. They invited her for entrepreneurship. She went to MBA school. She did all those things, but it's still what the legacy her mother left. So the way we even mentor our children
Hmm.
is very important for them to pick up our legacy. And if you don't have a biological children, you must have somebody that you are mentoring for succession planning. I'm telling you, it's intentionality. It's not because I don't want to die. No, there is nobody that will not die. We're not planning for any day. But you know what it does?
Hmm.
When Solomon was made king, David, he said they should go and enthrone him. He was still alive. So that people will not give that person problem. So that the person will be properly mentored. For me and in the ministry, and you have number one, number two. There are people that know the spirit with which I'm running the ministry. So that you don't give your business to somebody that will sell it off. There is a principle that first generation works hard for something. The second generation just maintains it. And the third generation sell it off. Look at a lot of businesses. The first generation can come from scratch and build something. But if you don't train the next generation, they will just be maintaining it. By the third generation, they are born into wealth. They are spoiled.
Hmm.
And they end up selling legacies. How many airlines do we have in Nigeria? Built by a man. Where are they now? So these things are important for you. It may not be a big thing, but be intentional that you are raising somebody that will not allow what you have labored for to go to waste.
Too good to waste.
Yeah, very,
So
very important. So this is the age we begin to think about succession planning.
mhm.
We think about legacy. This is
Legacy.
the age. Yeah,
This is the good. This
yeah.
is it's powerful. You just dropped powerful nuggets there, Apostle, and I must say that I cannot wait for people, more people to watch this. This information, people often hear it in a master class, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
really grateful to you that you dropped those gems with us today. Which brings me to the last question for this session, and it's parenting. You've said so much about marriage, you've given us strategies about health, menopause, taking those crucial legal steps to protect your assets. But parenting, because after all is said and done, like you said, the succession plan,
Mm-hmm.
how do we raise wholesome children, who can successfully carry on our legacy? One thing that really caught my attention is the airlining part. Some
Mm-hmm.
businesses, the moment the owner fizzles out like that, the business goes down. And it shouldn't be so. And these are people who have grown-up children who could have taken over the business. So how do we avoid these mishaps? How do we raise our children in a godly way, one, but beyond that, in a way where they are going to be involved in the things that would let our legacy live on?
One of the most difficult things to do that we're not trained for, yeah, is parenting.
Hmm.
Most of us were not trained. It's just in recent times that they are doing parenting courses. Many of us were not trained into parenting. We just okay, this is the way things should be. But what I realized is there are certain notions that make parenting ineffective, and many of us carry that notion. One of it is childhood trauma. If you come from a childhood where you were deprived
Hmm.
or where things were not okay, the first thing a lot of us say is, I don't want my children to suffer what I suffered. But it's actually what you suffered that makes you resilient. And many of us have that notion. And really and truly, you cannot make your child suffer what you suffered because you would have gotten to a certain level of comfort. I mean, if I used to walk to school and
Hmm.
now I'm living in a nice place and I have my children and I have a car, I will not allow my children to walk to school. It-
Hmm.
I mean, I just have to either put them in a school bus or take them to school. So naturally, the dynamics change from parents to children. But as much as we can help it, let us make them know reality and not shield them from reality. Let us allow some of our children. We shouldn't over pamper them. They may say you are strict,
Hmm.
they may say you are difficult,
Hmm.
but you're actually helping them.
Hmm.
You are helping them. And what you realize is your firstborn and your secondborn and your thirdborn would actually have different experiences of your parenting because your financial status may not be the same for all of them. So when you're raising the firstborn, you may be in a space, you're raising the second one, you're in another space. So you must, as much as possible, try to make sure that you create a balance. You create a balance so that there will be no sibling rivalry or feeling that, okay, I'll give an example. Some of us live in Nigeria, we send some of our children abroad, and maybe when is the time of another one, the dollar has gone up. If you can't afford it, so you tell the other one, please go to a Nigerian university. And that child, the worst enemy you can have is not in your marriage. You don't want your children to be your enemy because that one pains to the heart because those are your future. So parenting must be done carefully, tactfully, with wisdom, and you got to know there is a level where the children get to. You can't shout on them again. You will have to coach them and pray for them. Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. The pressures are so much out there.
Hmm.
The pressure we went through cannot be compared to the pressure they are going through. There's a 24-hour pressure from their face. We were watching TV from 4 o'clock. Yellow line, blue line, bang, 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 la, la, la. All of us run. Okay, they've started TV. At least from morning you could you could play. Now a lot of our children are having mental health issues.
Yeah.
They're having depression.
Sadly.
You wonder, are you paying school fees? You said you're overwhelmed. With what?
What is overwhelming you?
What is real?
It is.
Cyberbullying, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
Some
It's
commit suicide.
serious.
We must know the current parenting challenges. We must be
Hmm.
informed.
Hmm.
Don't just think I'll shout at them, I will do this, I'll collect their phone. There are people who have met dead children in the room. What will they do? Because they didn't understand those children. So get knowledge. If you're parenting children in your 40s, you have to get knowledge. These children were raising, my friend will tell me, Mom, our generation is different from your generation. They will ask you questions and they can find out things. If you keep lying to them, when I was in school, I used to do well. They will research you and they will tell you, Mom, that's not true. Or that thing you are saying. So we need to be careful. We need to learn about parenting. Now you have to be like a coach to your children. And you have to help some of them. If you know you have a child who is not mentally resilient, don't push that child. Children are different. You may have a particular child that is hard, and there's one that is soft. So you cannot treat your children the same. You got to study your children. My last born, since he was young, once the school bus drops him in front of the house, I will hear the school bus. Let this boy come inside. He will not come inside. Afterwards, you have not entered. What's he doing? Oh, mom, I was looking at the bird. There's one bird, one cuckoo bird. You'll be mentioning them. I was looking at the ants and some ants. I said, why is he doing this? He loves paying attention to little details.
Details.
He knows the sound of birds. He knows different. It's like which insect. There's some insect that used to come. Which insect? Do you know now? He's a medical doctor. He could do that because that's how he was wired.
Hmm.
Like Yoruba people say, "Oh farabale." He's the kind of child that doesn't go out. You beg him to come out of the room. So that's the kind of person that can sit down and read medicine. Don't say, you this my child, read medicine. You know this your child is always on the phone. You want to go and dance. Say, go and read medicine. I feel medicine in your jam form. My father was a doctor. That child cannot read medicine. So children are different. So I found out my children, they're very different. Another one is outgoing. He loves sports. He loves mixing with people. Whereas the other one will be begging him to go and mix with people. That's how he could read medicine straight from secondary school. He just finished his house job. So learn to know your children, their peculiarities. Don't say
Super.
in this family you must be this. Find out what they want to do in life. Encourage them to do it.
To do it.
Yeah, encourage. If he likes to paint, get him a teacher. If he likes music, get him somebody so that he can quickly achieve destiny.
Achieve.
And don't force them. And then involve them in your life. When you involve them in your life, okay, I'm going somewhere, even though I run a women's ministry, can you go with me? When they were around, can you help me do the media? Help me do the record, help me scream. So what you're saying too, the anointing will be falling on them.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's very, very important. You involve them as much as you can. So you may be running a school. Let your children come and help out. We want to do some things. Come and join the sports teacher. So you are easing that person into your lifestyle and making them rather than they have earplugs. Okay, mommy, bye bye bye. You've gone. They don't even know what you're doing. They don't even know what you're involved. They don't know what you're building. And so they go on their own. And you find out children, some of these children, their parents have built a whole lot, and then the child comes there, I want to be a photographer.
DJ.
Because he has eaten, he doesn't have problems.
That's your problem.
I'm a photographer, I have to post this thing. I have a
You're a DJ. Thank you so much. You just
oh,
listen. The nuggets you've dropped today, they're so powerful. I want to quickly touch on something while you were talking about parenting. Something I saw on Twitter, and because this is going to be watched by a lot of people, a child in South Africa that was poisoned by
hmm,
her friends.
by
And
friends.
yeah, she's a
Hmm,
girl. Now the DJ, the father is a DJ, it's up DJ.
hmm,
And I mean, they are still investigating, but I feel like maybe there was a parent that had some issue with that guy and they took it out on the child at school. And
wow.
since I read that story, I have been deliberate, not just with my parenting, also with prayer. Because honestly, sometimes while we are out there chasing the goals and doing all that, and for a lot of us who are public figures, I tell people, please be prayerful.
Hmm,
The you can imagine somebody taking out something that happened on social media on another person's child at school. Like that is the height of it. And that girl's photo was all over. I think she was 13. Um,
wow.
yeah, secondary school. You can imagine what sort of evil, permits me
Hmm,
to use that word, would a child of that age would have to even think about poison. So, which adult gave that advice or said something in front of that child? What influenced them? And I
hmm,
won't lie to you, since I read that story, it something tweaked
hmm.
in me. And the father
Prayers.
has been on Twitter. You will see him, he's struggling. He's trying
Hmm,
to find closure. He wants answers. He's pissed off at himself and maybe partly blaming himself for being in the eyes of the public, you know.
hmm,
And
hmm.
like, why would this happen to my child? Is it because I'm known out there? So when you were talking about parent, that dropped on me as well to say I'm going to share the I'll share the screenshot with you as well after so you can also
You
read
can see.
the story. I said I would find time to. I just didn't want to post it on my socials yet because I mean it's just a very very sad, very very sad story. But I'm happy that a lot of advocates in South Africa, they are rising to the occasion now to
Hmm,
investigate. And like Apostle said, please be involved,
hmm,
be involved with your children. And I understand that the world we are in right now, while some of us are training our children to be kind, some people are also trying to raise bullies. We saw a
hmm.
situation that happened in Nigeria where a child was slapped 20 times, and that
Yeah.
child just sat there, you know, receiving the slap. You know, at the end of the day, it's a two-way street. If that child had reacted, only God knows what could have happened. Now
Hmm.
the child sat there, but she was going to be traumatized for life.
For
And
life. Yeah.
parents of the child that committed this crime, whatever they want to do to their own child is nobody's business right now. But the business of everybody right now is that child that just sat there. Because every time I watch that video, I'm like, how did this girl just sit to
We
take
have to
sweat?
teach our children to be resilient.
Exactly. Because
We have
I honestly, Apostle, because
to,
I said it too. I said, listen, I'm all for peace, But there is a stage where you need to stand up for yourself.
For yourself,
Because
yeah.
when somebody starts slapping, bullying you to the point where they take your humanity completely and
Mm-hmm.
they strip you of your dignity in front of every other person,
I
you
need
would
to
go
fight
on a
back.
life exactly, whatever that may look like. So I just want to say thank you because parenting is such a huge topic.
It is.
And you really raise, really good points there. And for those who want to become DJ, even when they have so much to fall back on, we never
Thank
can
you.
understand. Life is not fair sometimes,
Mm.
But the good thing is for us to raise, awesome children. I tell people all the time, please raise children that their values are higher than their grades
Hmm.
because I've realized that grades sometimes a lot of parents. I've been in parenting meetings where people would say, my daughter got first, got first. What is your daughter's character and attitude at school?
Hmm.
While getting the
You get
first,
the
you bully
grades.
that children
Exactly.
because that child now will grow up and she would have entitlement mentality. That
Hmm.
child will grow up and trample on other people because yes, she's confident in her grades. However, the belief system is that it has to be me, 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 me always. And
Hmm.
by the time they get to that stage, you see them on social media, they can't hide the nastiness because that's what the way they grew up. That
Hmm.
nasty side of thinking it's all about me. That is how
Exactly. What if you don't come first? What if somebody else is more brilliant? They will be
then
able to tell
where
you
that's
so.
the problem. That's where the problem will now come in. And they start, I mean, you know what? It's a broad topic. But Apostle, before you go today, we've talked about so much. I am so filled up and I'm charged up for this conference and retreat. And I want to just bring that back, for folks who are going to watch this. Listen, 2 days, you've heard her. You've heard her. She just scratched the surface. You can imagine what it would look like to be in her presence and listen to her drop the fire. She didn't even drop fire today, because today we kept it on the surface.
Yes. We are going to be praying. Like you
Yes,
said, we are
so
going
there
to
will
be
be
praying the
prayer,
fire retreat.
prayer.
Everybody under your sphere of influence. You
Yes,
have to be the
pray.
gatekeeper.
You are going to
40
learn
plus woman.
to network with people. If you are the type who is in the shell, this is for you to say, listen, you got to meet people. And you got to be open to meeting new people as well. But beyond that, it's a learning stage for everybody who is going to attend. And you will not remain the same. The impact of that conference, I cannot even start to imagine from everything I've heard today and learned. This is a master class 101 that she are just giving us for free. So please, if you watch this, later on, it's June 7th and 8th. Like I said, I'll be sharing the link once I post this video and once this video is on Facebook. Go on the link, register, get your ticket. If you need more information as well, I will put a number there or email, for inquiries, because I know that there are people like that. The link, they want to ask questions. So you're going to get all of those information. But beyond that, I want to believe that this session today would touch at least one person. The financial part, that part, I wanted Apostle to stretch because she was hitting some things. And I know there are some tables that would have been broke right now. So don't use your 10 fingers to eat. Save. Oga is rich, is fine. Save.
Mm-hmm.
Save from Oga. It is okay to save. It is your money too. Don't be left alone in the rain and there will be nobody to give you the umbrella if things go south. So please save and save. Apostle, please, before you go, ma'am, just something for women in their 40s, a word for them, something strategic, something powerful to leave them with before we end the session today.
So I'll say this to every 40 plus woman. You get to that stage in your life, do something for yourself. Buy that bag. Treat yourself. I remember I got to one stage. I got to, well, not 40, but I got to that stage. I had walked and walked. I just said, you know what? I'm going to treat myself my next birthday. I'm going to buy this car for myself. Yeah. You know, most of us women, we use second-hand car. The car that your husband has used will dash you. Am I breaking table? Am I closing with a table break?
Breaking you. Apostle has broken so many tables today.
I just said, you know what?
My husband's car. That's the way they say.
This is my, I'm buying this car. And you know, when I'm driving the car,
Hmm.
I thank my God. I give him praise. I'll end like that. Just
Hallelujah.
do something for yourself
Yes.
that makes you happy. Just one thing. You keep giving, and you're last on the list.
Hmm.
Just keep giving, yeah.
Be selfish
Be important
sometimes.
to yourself. Yeah, it's not being selfish. It's it's fulfill your need.
It's,
You know, when you say that selfish, it makes you look negative. No,
mm,
I'm not being selfish. Sometimes you save and save, okay, let's use it for this. But this one, you have a need. You've been putting your need address. So one thing, look at one thing. It may be a dress, it may be a shoe, something you love. Treat yourself and enjoy it.
and
Yeah,
enjoy it.
enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
You
Thank
deserve it. You
Thank
deserve it.
you so much for this powerful masterclass. I feel so honored to have had you on my show today. This is a session that I would always come back to, and share with folks. And that is because you came with not just the human energy today. You came, and I see how relaxed you are. And that's the power of the fire too. You know, people that are filled with fire, they don't need to be shouting all the time. Sometimes the fire calms people, but you see through the words that come out of their mouth. And that's what I've seen today. A woman who is very grounded in her purpose and knows exactly, what she's doing. So thank you so much, Apostle, once again.
You're welcome.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for having me. Look
Thank
forward to meeting you in Canada.
Same here. I cannot wait. And I want to believe, Madam Gloria, do you have something to say before we go?
Yeah, I'm okay. Apostle has nailed it all. So I want to say thank you so much, our viewers. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming on board. And also see you on June 7 and 8.
By
Don't
God's
miss
grace.
it.
Don't miss
God
it. All right,
bless.
everyone. I
Thank you,
wish
ma'am.
everyone a beautiful, beautiful week. And
Yeah.
I hope that the words of Apostle today will not only resonate with you, but help you make that change that you need. It can even
Awesome.
be from that bank account, that money that you're just using to shop.
Exactly.
Because that one is very important. I know what I am saying. So you
Yeah.
don't depend on giveaway on the internet. Hmm?
Yeah.
Please, it's very, very imperative, But I believe that Apostle will come back sometime soon and would have a discussion on something that has to do with not just being strategic, but how to the practicality. It could even be a session that you pay for because everything should not be free.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yes, it could be a session that you pay for where you
Yeah.
learn the practicality of these things she has shared today. So
Yeah.
thank you, Madam Gloria. Thank you, Apostle. I wish you a
Thank
beautiful
you.
day.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy
Thanks so
the rest
much.
of the day and bye for now.
All
Bye for
right.
now.
Bye. Bye, Gloria.
Bye, Dearest Apostle.